Lesson 22. Hi, sis. Ready to read?
Hi. Lesson 22. What I see is a form of vengeance.
What?
Yeah, it's like a bit radical, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll have to explain that one.
What I see is a form of vengeance.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. All right. So let's go. Today's idea accurately describes the way anyone who holds attack thoughts in his mind must see the world. Having projected his anger onto the world, he sees vengeance about to strike at him. His own attack is thus perceived as self defense.
We should just stop right there.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. No. I mean, no, can we just
Well, do you want to finish
end
this?
on that or what?
Yeah. Well, just to unpack that, I think
Yeah.
for newbies, they're going to be just the ego is going to strike up a lot of confusion and they say, I have no idea what this is, even though the lessons all build on each other. Having projected his anger onto the world, he sees vengeance about to strike at him. Well, so why is he projecting anger?
Mm. Well, do you remember the ego iceberg picture we had?
Mm-hmm.
And like a good 90% or more is in the unconscious while we're in the ego. And most of that is anger. In fact, probably all of it are just disguised forms of anger. That's what the separation is, isn't it?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
But how would you
So,
explain to a new person? Why is the ego thought so angry?
well, you explain that. I think you'll be able to do a better job than me. I'll still be here in 24 hours, still explaining.
Well, I feel that upon this belief that we have left, we thought it was just a tiny mad idea or the suggestion. It was an innocent suggestion of what would that be like. But because of the power of our mind, when we experienced it in a dream, although it's seemingly very real. So I could just only, imagine what it was like to come out from a perfect, all-inclusive love, the conscious possession of the kingdom of heaven, union and oneness, everything that we could ever desire or need, co-creating with our father mother who is love, and then all of a sudden like a vacuum being experiencing yourself without the father, without safety, without love, without, all of a sudden we're being raised by two super egos, and from the infinite into the finite, from the unlimited to the limited, to the perfect to the imperfect. And so this is rage. This is an absolute rage. It's also a feeling of immense guilt that we thought we actually had obliterated that safety that we came from, that we are fatherless now and brotherless. So and going from innocence to being handed, such a massive impact of guilt, boy, the frustration and the sadness, and then the feeling of, if I'm this guilty, well, all the guilty expect punishment. So you're, leaving the safety of love and moving into a perpetual state of terror and always waiting for the other shoe to drop, some sort of punishment to come in, is where we find ourselves. Well, heck, you wanted to know the opposite of love. We wanted to know what it was like to be apart from God, who is life, who is safety, who is everything. So this is just the natural result of it. Anger and guilt and fear, and of course the constant fear of the attack that we're certain we're deserving of. So that's kind of
Yeah,
it.
that's a persistent sense of threat that we
Yes.
all have here in the world. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, constantly. If I am separated from God, then I am sin. And if I am sin, then I'm guilty. If I'm guilty, I'm expecting punishment. And I don't want that. So he says, what you are believing about yourself,
Mhm.
you're seeing. Our thoughts create or make what we're experiencing. They are one and the same, cause and effect, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're just seeing our guilt and fear displayed across everything. And it's going to strike at us. He says he sees vengeance about to strike at him. We're constantly waiting to be stricken.
Yeah, and that's projected, and it's mostly unconscious until we begin doing our work with Holy Spirit, right?
Yes.
It's projected everywhere
Hmm. That's
as
right.
as seeming attack. So it's projected in our relationships, and in our body as pain and disease, aging, whatever,
Right.
and it's also projected onto God.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Instead of taking responsibility for what we thought,
Mm.
let's put it out on God. I'm right here, God. Where are you? I remember those days. I'm standing here in a darkened room looking for a handle. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Where are you, God? Like railing at God. Oh my gosh. Until I heard the voice that says, God's not hiding.
So if God is not hiding, who is? Right.
Mythical me
Yeah.
that does not want to be found.
No, and I mean, I remember going through that and really severely,
Mm.
and truly believing that I was such a good person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had strived so hard, right? I spent my life
Mm.
being a good person,
Yes.
being a really, really, really good course student.
Oh, heck yeah.
And then when something seemingly devastating occurred,
Right.
I'd go right to God, damn you.
Yeah. Why did you do this to me?
Yeah,
The victim.
yeah.
Right. Oh boy. That's
Thank
the
God
ego
that's
right there.
gone. Yeah.
Yes, thank God. So his own attack is thus perceived as self-defense, right? So the attack that he's projecting, we are projecting from our own mind out there, in forms of what? Lack and conflict and sickness and whatever else, all things we say we don't want. Then we end up defending ourselves.
We
Yeah.
do. But at the same time, it's important to reintroduce this. Is when we finally realize, my God, all of this is coming from my own mind. The first thing the ego does is rub its hands together. It goes, "Oh, good. Now you can feel guilty
Right.
because now you realize it's coming from your own mind. It's
Mhm.
all your crap."
Yes.
Right? So join me, the ego says, in condemning yourself.
That's right.
And that is totally not what we're to do.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. Because,
No.
the ego is an impersonal thought system. It's not actually an entity. It's just something that we mistakenly choose to tap into
Mhm.
as a thought system. And it's just a mistake.
Mhm.
And in that moment, we realize, my God, this is a mistake. Uh, we can choose again, and Holy Spirit's right there. And any second,
Mhm.
it only takes a second to give it to Him in exchange for the miracle of healing.
Right.
That's it. We just have to be willing to go, oh, this was a mistake.
Mhm.
I don't want it anymore. And
Right.
He takes over. Yeah. Thanks, sis.
Oh, perfect. So you're reading.
You're reading.
I am. Okay. His his own attack is thus perceived as self-defense. So now we're defending ourselves against the very things that we're projecting. And we think it's self-defense. I'm a victim of the world. I'm a victim of disease. I'm a victim of my ex. I'm a whatever, right?
Mhm.
So I'm defending myself, but yet this is all arising from my thoughts. This becomes an increasingly vicious circle. Yeah, until he is willing to change how he sees. Otherwise, thoughts of attack and counterattack, which is the self defense, will preoccupy him and people his entire world. What peace of mind is possible to him then? So, do you guys feel the roundabout there? I feel that if I'm separate, if I'm mythical me, then I'm guilty. The guilt of my mind, I don't want. I project it out there. Although I'm waiting for attack, and so the world, which is neutral and simply reads our beliefs, shows us images of what we're believing. So I'm seeing all this attack out there, and then it comes to me. And so the mythical me is now defending itself against myriad forms of attack. And then, of course, we're projecting out again, and then self-defending what we projected. And here we go. And this is all the problems of the world, and why, you know, we can have a problem or an illness healed at one day, and then 6 days later, you know, a new problem comes. And why is that? Because the cause, the guilt in the mind, the belief that we are the separated mythical me has not been healed. And until that's healed, we're going to be in this roundabout that he's talking about. And there's no peace of mind possible to us while we're being led around by this ego thought system. Okay, so it is from this savage fantasy that you want to escape. Is it not joyous news to hear that it is not real? Is it not a happy discovery to find that you can escape? You made what you would destroy, everything that you hate and would attack and kill. This is the clincher. All that you fear does not exist. I just want to pause there. Yeah. It does not exist. It does not exist because the separation did not occur.
And it's not the will of God.
No.
Does anything exist apart from the will of God and the laws of God?
No. Nope. If God didn't do it, it hasn't been done. If God didn't declare it, it hasn't been said. If love wasn't in it, it hasn't been, can't be experienced.
So it's a hallucination, right?
Total elusive. Yes, it's the gap.
The gap in the gap diagram.
Yep. So the only place that we can experience fear is with all the drama and the problems concerning the body. And he says, and all that you fear does not exist because this is God, and only what God's doing is true. Yeah.
What a relief.
I know. So filled with gratitude today that truth is true. Look at the world about you at least 5 times today for at least a minute each time. And as your eyes move slowly from one object to another, from one body to another, say to yourself, I see only the perishable. I see nothing that will last. What I see is not real. What I see is a form of vengeance. Whew. At the end of each practice period, ask yourself, is this the world I really want to see? The answer is surely obvious.
You know, I remember doing this lesson, and a thought just came in now, is that it might have been the second or third time I did the yearly lessons, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I did see was I had an epiphany about, because just back up a little bit about this lesson, is that I had a great love of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Nature.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was sacrosanct. And I couldn't, for the life of me, the first time around with these lessons, I couldn't see that nature in this world was not something that was absolutely beautiful. And I couldn't understand why it could be a form of vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in this epiphany that I had, I got to see that, of course, it's like everything else in the dream. It can look good one day and then it can go to bad the next day, you know.
Like the Roadrunner.
The Roadrunner eating my
mouse.
All my mice. I don't have one left. So see, you know, and so what I see is a form of vengeance.
Right. Yeah. It's meaningless.
Yeah. it's meaningless. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So who's it a form of vengeance against then? If it's meaningless and I'm reacting to it, then that's my form of vengeance against God, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
vengeance against our creator. It just says, I'm seeing something that you didn't create and I'm reacting to it and I'm making it real. I'm worshiping it.
Yeah, because I want it.
Right. I wanted the experience of not my holy self.
Yeah.
But to do that, we've got to worship an illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing, if it changes, if it doesn't, if it's not eternal, if it changes,
Mhm.
it's not real. And
Mhm.
if I'm giving reality to something that is not real, that is a form of vengeance. Okay.
Well put together. Thank you.
Yeah. What I see is what I see before Christ's vision, what everything I see, everything, what I see is a form of vengeance.
And that goes to our special
I
relationships.
was about to say the same
You know,
thing.
not just the romantic ones, but with our children
Right.
and our parents, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because one day, we love our, we love our partner, our parent, whoever, and the next day we're angry with them again, or our children.
Yes. Because they didn't play up to their roles, right? They didn't do as I say, not as I do. And I know better. And you listen to me. And wow, if a child talks back, what happened to that love?
Yeah, well, it's not really love.
No.
There's no love if there's any fear in it, right?
And fear is control and anger and self justification,
Defense.
competition, defense. Yes.
Yeah.
Jealousy, envy, comparison.
I've had all of that.
Me too. We all have.
We all have. Yeah.
Wow. All forms of vengeance.
Mhm.
How is it that a mother child situation could be totally vengeance, right? So if you place your child as a body coming along a horizontal timeline, I only see the perishable. I see nothing that will last. That body is bound for the casket someday. What I'm seeing about my brother or sister, whom I'm calling son or daughter, is not real because that's not the view that God has. So what I'm seeing is a form of vengeance, calling itself love. Yeah.
Yeah, because that kind of love,
Mhm.
uh, how can I say this? It's that kind of love. It's like comes down to this: I'll love you
Mhm.
as long as you do what I want,
Right.
and if you don't do what I want, meaning the ego,
Mhm. Yeah.
then I will stop loving you.
Yes. So when the child behaves and gets the A and the parent is proud and the child behaves in public and it makes the parent, I don't know, just
Right.
yeah, then it's okay. But if the child steps out of line or embarrasses the parent or fails a test or bombs in a game, what happens, right? Ooh, contraction. Yeah. Love can be withdrawn if a child does not behave. So that's not love. That's not the divine love. That's
And
perfect and
we
never
we
changes.
we've all had this happen with
Oh,
our own upbringing, our
yep.
father, mother, or caretaker, whoever it was apt to withdraw their love at a moment's notice.
Yes.
And so, as children, we grow up with great insecurities and problems and physical ailments and
People
all of
pleasing.
this, right? As a
Yes.
consequence. And
Mm,
most of the time, we really don't understand where the cause of it came from.
right.
And we perpetuated
Yes.
the same uh, mm, dysfunctional dynamic we perpetuated in our adult relationships
Mhm. Yeah.
till we decide to heal it.
That's that attack and counterattack that's going to continue
Mhm.
until we start wanting and being determined to see things differently. So it's good. We're well on our way. So, lesson 22, what I see is a form of vengeance. we complete, sis? You feel good?
What I see is a form of vengeance. I think yes. I think I am ready to see something different.
Me too. Okay. Thanks, sis.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.